Little Miss Recap contains adult language. Little Miss Recap is intended for entertainment purposes only. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Little Miss Recap. My name's Amy.
I am Amanda.
Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Amy. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm good.
I have to tell you, right before you hit record, you did a little hum, which you quite often do. You're always like,
Yeah, I go.
Well, it sounds exactly. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
we're doing Sanford and Son now.
Yep, we are. We are. Yep.
Yeah, it was exciting.
It's so funny because, well, I told you what my dad told me.
Yes.
My dad's a hummer. Like, he hums all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, like, we always make fun of him that we're going to
Right.
have to, like, have him put away for this. Why are you humming all the time? And he told me he did it as a little boy when his parents would fight. It was a self-soothing thing. And I was like,
he only needed that one session of therapy. And
yes,
then
just the one.
Just
Just
the
the
one.
one. And
but
he's
Bill
good.
was there for him if he ever needed anything.
He's
else.
good. He's good. He can call him up if anything else comes up. I'm like, both of your parents are dead. Nothing more is coming up.
Yeah, we're done. No more trauma from them is happening.
There won't be an acute need, but there is like always a need.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. So I wanted to just tell everyone real quick 2 things. I need you all to go vote in our rewatch
Yes.
poll. Big Love is running away with it.
Is it?
70%.
Holy shit. I haven't looked at it today. Okay.
So
Amy and I are having a little thing. I thought Mad Men was going to take it away.
we're going to do, Amanda and I like to every once in a while do a scripted binge on our $12 tier of our Patreon. And so we put up a poll, and on the poll is The Crown season 1.
Yep.
Which I would love.
Yeah.
Mad Men season 2, which I would love, because we did Mad Men season 1 and we loved it. But I needed like a break from it for a few.
Yeah. And we had other stuff happening. Yeah.
Yeah. And then number 3 was Big Love season 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's running away.
Maybe it's just that people are missing the Browns because we don't have new Brown content that they're like, I need some polygamy in my life. And we're gonna do it the way that we talked about doing the Mad Men, similar to how Podcastica does. Not just a this happened, then this happened.
Yeah, there'll be like a 5 to 10 minute summary up top.
Yep.
And then a couple points. We'll each have some points. Yeah.
Yeah, good. This will be fun.
Yeah, so I made a post. It's on Patreon, but it's like an open public post for Patreon. So you just go on to patreon.com/Little Miss Recap. You'll see the link there. Even if you're not a member, you should be able to click it and still vote, because I want all of you to weigh in on this.
Please.
Okay, so that's one thing.
That's a good idea, and it keeps the poll all in one place, because doing multiple polls
I can't do
challenging.
Multiple polls. Yeah. Number 2 is we are currently recruiting like some fresh voices. So if you would like to talk to us about our shows, be a little guest host once in a while in Little Miss Recap, we tag in if we have a documentary or something. Please apply. I will put the link in the show notes. And yeah, you just click it. It's a Google form. Real easy to fill out.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, but I had a funny story to share.
Oh, real quick, the ultimatum is coming, guys.
Yes.
We know that the episodes drop today, right when they're hearing this.
Yeah.
Our coverage will drop Friday.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we recorded it yesterday.
Yes. Okay.
So,
and I tell the bar story on that episode.
Yes, you do. So I was listening to you and Axel doing the mortician over on Murder, She Watched.
Yes.
And it was great. And I'm talking about this lunatic, because this guy is a freaking lunatic.
And it was so funny how Axel's like, I'm going to have a controversial take. I'm like, me too. And it was the same thing.
Yeah.
That we're not like super married
by
to
what he
Ashes
did.
after.
Yeah, I am too. I'm like, I've had to have pets cremated when they died. I never get the ashes until my cat Hannah died, and it was really sudden, and I was in trauma, and they were like, do you want her ashes? And I was like, I want everything.
Yeah.
And for $400, I now have a box of her ashes. What the fuck I'm going to do with these? I don't know.
Well, on the day that Toby and Leo pass, which hopefully will be 25 years from now.
Yes.
You and I will split the ashes.
Oh, okay. You need some too? Yes, you need some Leo ashes. Buddy, it's not happening for a long time. Don't you worry your pretty little head, as he's on my shoulder. And I'm having a hot flash right now. I don't know why he knows I'm having a hot flash.
And he needs
shows
to
up.
Curl up. Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. I could just put him down, but I won't. Anyway, but I was listening to that, and you guys were talking about pre-needs.
Yes.
And I only knew about preneeds because of 6 Feet Under. It was funny when we watched The
Yeah.
Mortician, I kept giving Todd facts about the mortuary
Mhm.
profession
Mhm.
entirely based on 6 Feet Under.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You realize we just watched it together. Like, you're not giving me new information, right? I know these things too because I watched 6 Feet Under." But it reminded me of when I was in high school and early college, when friends would hang out, and my friend Eric and I, around 10 o'clock, would be like, "Ooh, let's do a donut run." So we
Mm.
capture like or get like 2, $3 from everybody, right?
Mhm.
And then we would go to the local Dunkin' Donuts and we would buy 2 dozen donuts, however many people were there. And of
Sounds
course,
really
we ordered.
good.
It was great. It was a nice little service that Eric and I provided.
Mhm.
2 things. 1, the donut lady had a crush on me. So she would
Oh,
give us a lot of free donuts.
okay.
Number 2, we'd collect 2, $3 from 10 people and we'd buy 2 dozen donuts. And this is
You had
1990.
money left. You were siphoning off the top.
We were siphoning off the top. We would
Mhm.
split the difference every time.
Mhm.
So fast forward, at some point, I think my freshman year of college, our friend Julie calls me and I pick up the phone and she just goes, "You bitch." And I'm like, "What did I
Whoa.
do?" She
Whoa.
goes, "A dozen donuts costs $8." Like, or something. Like, she had finally gone to a Dunkin' Donuts and realized that Eric and I had been running a scam on everybody for
Nice.
2 years.
Nice. Nice.
But it was
Hey,
kinda
you
like,
do what you had to do what you had to do in
we
those
had to do what we
years.
had to do. Times were tough. I was only making $6 an hour
Mhm.
at McDonald's. It was a tough time, but just
As my
you
kids remind me all the time, you grew up in the 1900s.
we did.
You
We
had to
did.
do stuff.
Things were cheaper in the 1900s. But just the moment that she realized, like, "Oh, you guys have been doing
Mm,
terrible shit." I'm like, "Yeah, well,
nice. Nice.
it only
Well,
cost you $2. What do you
sorry,
care?"
Julie.
Sorry. But
Well, Amanda, that's your criminal past.
that's my
It's
criminal
time to
past.
leave
Yeah.
it in the past.
And talk about these criminals. No, none of these people are criminals. They're a bunch of
Now,
weirdos, but they're not
the
criminals.
mortician was wild.
The mortician was wild.
I know what you're all thinking. Was Amy attracted to that man? No, not at
No,
all.
but
Not
the
at all.
James Caan was very good. He really
Yeah,
does.
he
It
looked
I
like
it hadn't
young
hit
James
me.
Caan. Yeah,
He looked like young James Caan. He
yeah.
was when he was young in
Sonny
particular,
Corleone.
he was not a bad-looking guy. I mean,
Yeah, he's
he
just
I mean, I wouldn't have found him hot, but, like, he was like I get why there was an appeal to him. He was a jock. He wasn't a
yes,
guy.
yes, and
He
he
came
was
from a
super confident.
Yep,
He moved through the world with super confidence.
yep,
A privileged
absolutely.
white kid.
Because I think he was a narcissist and a sociopath. And sociopaths just walk around with a lot of confidence because they don't
Mhm.
give a fuck.
But I Axel was the perfect person for that
He was
documentary.
because
Yeah,
it was so goofy
yeah.
and so like bonkers and weird,
Mhm.
and so it's good.
And
I
guys,
enjoyed it.
I hope that you are not sleeping on the McBee dynasty because
I'm
it's
watching
good.
that today. I'm
It's
watching that
good.
today.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. Galena has been usurped
Oh,
in Steven Senior's bed by her best friend. It's wild. It's
okay. Well,
wild.
that will definitely.
It's
I'm planning on cleaning the house today. That'll be good. Clean the
yes.
house entertainment.
And I will warn all of you, like, we don't really like these people. We
No, they're
come for them.
terrible.
Yes. So
They're
and
terrible.
especially Cole, who is real terrible off screen, like
Yeah.
homophobic, disgusting. So I will come for him quite a bit
Good.
because
Good. Good. Good.
he's no bueno. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Yes. No
Him and his
bueno.
tiny, tiny mouth. I
And
don't know
I'm
what's
really
going on there.
excited for people to hear our Plathville today because I think that was some
Oh,
of I think that was almost the level of couple to thruple.
it was
It was some of our good work.
unhinged. Timmy's like, "Why were you recording for an hour and a half?" I'm like, "I just kept interrupting Amanda, and then we would go on these
I
tangents."
just cry laughing over and over and over again. Oh, erection cam.
Oh,
Oh
I
god.
can't wait to get into the darker Plathville and be able to read these idiots for filth even more so than we do now.
Yeah, except we're not doing that for a while.
No, it's soon, July 23rd.
Oh,
The dark
current Plath. Oh
Plathville, yes,
yes.
which we know
Oh,
Veronica is wild.
we might need to do a special breaking news
Yeah,
about
because
her
a
because she
lot's
is
going
spilling
down.
tea right and left.
I know.
She
It's
don't give a
wild.
fuck.
It's wild.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I'm gonna say something controversial.
Oh, okay.
I believe 70% of what she's saying.
I do too. I don't believe
Yeah.
her 100%. I believe Olivia 100%.
Yeah, if I hear it from Olivia's mouth,
Yes.
I will believe it.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, of course, there's still people going off in her comments about she's being a narcissist just like Olivia. Like,
Okay.
fuck off.
And I also wanna be very clear. I believe Veronica when she says she was abused or hurt by
Mhm,
Micah. I always believe women.
mhm.
But, like,
It's the network shenanigans that I'm
the
like,
network shenanigans and them breaking into her house 17 times and, I don't know what's going on there.
feels a bit much,
Yeah.
but what do I know?
Alright, let's talk about overall impressions of the slow-mo reunion.
Yeah.
I liked it. I was surprised that they did it as an episode. I thought it was just gonna be like, we're recording a visual of Nick Viall. How do you say his name?
Nick
N
Vi I
Viall?
think it says
Viall?
Nick Viall, but I say Nick Viall.
Okay.
Viall. I
Nick.
think there's more of an emphasis on the last syllable, I think.
Okay. Alright.
I don't know.
Um,
He did better than I thought he would.
I thought they were just gonna have, like, live from his studio and we were gonna
Oh, no,
watch it.
I knew it would be a
Yeah. He did okay. At first, I was like, Nick Viall is not the guy for this.
right.
He was too soft spoken. I didn't feel like he really had like he's a good podcast host. I
Mhm.
don't know if he's a good on screen, on air host.
And for a show that's all about women, like, pushing back against the patriarchy,
Yeah,
should
couldn't
have
we
been
have
a
a woman?
dude
Yeah.
doing it, but
Yep.
he did well.
But I thought he did well. And then I'm like, okay, now we need podcasters to host every one of these fucking things.
That's right.
Could you imagine Amye and Amanda take on 90 Day Fiance tell all?
Oh my god. Well,
Mm.
first of all, we watched the show, so we would
Mhm.
do better than Sean Robinson.
Mhm.
Um, I was listening to Jake and Matt do their recap of this week's episode, and they're like, we're just gonna leave that here. Is so phoned in now. It sounds even less serious. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know how she could sound
yeah.
even more
Yep.
nonchalant,
Yep.
but she's gotten there.
Yeah.
I overall was not impressed with the tell-all.
I thought it was okay. Like, it was entertaining to watch, I guess.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like there was a lot of information.
There wasn't a lot of information, but they're in a weird spot because they
Right, because
can't
they've
talk
got
about
season 3.
anything.
That's the problem, is, like,
Yeah.
we couldn't talk about any of the Jesse and Jordan stuff
Mm-mm. No, and that's what
because
we're here for.
that's what I'm here for, but they can't talk about it because then that would spoil season 3.
Mhm.
But girlfriend's not wearing her rings anymore, and Jordan looked like he was there under duress.
Jordan's wearing his ring.
Yeah.
Weird.
Weird.
Also, it's interesting that they're counting that second batch of 10 episodes as season 3.
Right, because we weren't sure if it was
Okay.
season 2
Mhm.
to be.
Oh, one more thing real quick.
Yeah.
I started watching The Bear last night.
Oh,
Holy moly.
is it back? Is it finally back? Because season 3 was like,
I'm
eh.
just in reference to him
Oh,
being on
okay.
my screen.
Got it. Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
I don't know if it's back.
Okay. Okay, we
I
keep saying we're
mean
gonna start it, but
I
we
mean,
just haven't gotten there yet.
I'll watch
Maybe
him
that'll
do
happen tonight.
anything. I will literally watch him do anything.
Mhm. 'Kay.
Especially when he's exasperated and out in the back alley smoking. I'm like,
Mm.
wow, what's that? But it's good, but it's very, I don't know, it's very slow.
Okay.
So we'll see.
I just feel like seasons 1 and 2 were so good, and
So
season
good.
3 was like, what are we doing
Yeah.
here?"
Yeah.
So, we'll
Yeah.
see.
Anyway. Sorry, I didn't
Anyway.
mean to it just popped into my brain and I had to get it out or
I
I forget it.
understand.
Yeah.
I understand. That's why
Okay.
I text you sometime and say, "Remind me to say this."
Yes.
So, it's
Yes.
fine. I felt, yeah, because they couldn't say anything about the Jesse
Mhm.
Marciano thing.
Mhm.
That was
Mhm.
lackluster. I don't know. I wanted more of a cohesive story to be told, and it just felt very
So can I
ping-pongy.
say something?
No.
I don't know if these shows need a reunion.
Yeah, I don't know if this one did.
Like, think about Housewives. Does it
Yeah.
need a reunion? Because all the beef happens on the show.
Right. But now we have to talk about the
The
beef.
reason 90 Day needs a reunion
Mhm.
is because nobody's together. You know what I mean? So, like, then they all come
Mm.
together and then
That's true.
we
That's
hash
true.
it
None of these people
out.
interface during the show
Right, but it's
until the end.
like we yeah. And same for Sister Wives.
Yes.
Although I will never say no to Sister Wives content.
No.
Never.
They
Give me
we could just watch
18
them mowing
part
the lawn, and I'm here.
18 part tell all. I'm
It's
there.
fine. Yeah, everyone's bitching about the 4 parts. I'm like, "Why not 6?"
Yeah, why not 7? Yeah, got
Yeah,
it.
just keep going.
But
Suki, you could just live now in Sedona and just have these people run through the house all day long, and you just keep talking to them.
I just with so 2 things. Number 1, all the beefs are had on screen,
Yep.
right? And number 2, all of them are on social media, so we know everything of where they are now anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if a reunion is really necessary.
Yeah. And it was interesting, like, who talked a lot and who didn't. Like, I don't know why Macy was there. She
She
barely
didn't
said
say a
6
word.
words.
Mm-mm. Anyway,
Uh, yeah, and Whitney sort of said stuff. Okay, now I said
let's get
this. I said this. We saw everyone rolling in, get ready.
mm,
This
mhm,
is,
mhm.
a 90 Day Fiance style. They're all showing up, getting glammed up.
Yeah.
Whitney comes in with a head full of rollers. And I
And
say
her
this
hair's
is
poker straight.
her hair is flat and poker straight.
Don't understand it.
And I'm a flat hair girly, so this
Mhm.
is no
Same.
Whitney and I probably have very similar hair. This is no shade to her hair.
Sure.
But what wait,
But
I had questions.
I did too.
Also, why was she wearing a crown? I don't know.
No clue.
No clue.
No clue.
No clue.
Mm-mm.
The way I did, like I said, we didn't do notes like he said, she said. We just did kind of themes. Let's talk
Mhm.
about the Marciano stuff first.
Ugh, okay.
So, who were we? Oh, Mary Payne. Was it Mary Payne that was telling us what a tool he was?
No, I think it
Somebody-
was it Ryan Bailey?
Ryan Bailey,
Ryan
maybe.
Bailey, because he
Somebody.
watches it and we were talking about
He
it
was
with him.
explaining to us who he was, and he
Yeah.
was someone who worked anyway. And he's kind of a nothing.
Mhm.
So
I
he's
hate
trying
him.
to stay relevant.
Hate him. Hate
Hate
him.
it.
Hate
We're
him.
not into
Hate
him
him.
at all.
No.
And he's very clearly trying to stay relevant in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And he's
I love
decided to
that they're
use
gonna give
these
him
women.
a lie detector test this season because I
I'm
think he needs
excited for
one.
that.
Mhm.
I always enjoy when we pull out a lie detector test.
Listen, we grew up in the 1900s.
We
You
believed
lie
in those.
detectored everybody.
Everybody got a lie. You get a lie detector, and you get a lie detector, and you get a lie detector. Also, speaking of lie detectors, pause real quick. Our girls, Jeff and Megan, I'm sorry, Shalala, I'm sorry, Megan, got
Oh,
arrested.
yes, the twin flames are going down.
Oh my
Love it.
God. I'm
Love it.
so excited. When I saw that
Yes.
this morning, I was like,
Love it.
yes.
Love
Because at
it.
first I saw it like raid on Michigan House. I'm like, why do I care? And I saw Jeff and
Mm.
Shalala. I was like,
Yes.
okay. But yeah, he is clearly trying to stay relevant. There is zero resolution to this because we can't talk about it because
We
we're going to
can't
do it on
talk about
season 3.
anything. Yeah, it's
So
dumb.
why were we here for this?
I mean, who is it? Jesse and Jordan.
Yes, Jesse.
They're
and Jordan.
like moping around, acting like their marriage is over, but we don't know. We don't know anything.
We don't know. And Jordan 100% looks like he's there under duress.
Mhm.
He looks like he is like a caged animal. He's like pacing in the back.
Mhm.
He looks like he
Mhm.
wants to throw up most of the time. He does not want to be here at all.
I will say having the men backstage making comments on all of this
Was
was
fun.
probably the best part for me.
Also, why did we have to keep Jen and Zach in an undisclosed location in the back
was
for
dumb.
90% of the episode?
It was dumb. It was dumb.
Just
It
bring
was
them
dumb.
out.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, yes, she stopped filming because of her mental health, but it's not like she went to jail, so now we have to bring her back. And
No,
it's so
and she's going
exciting.
on Dancing with the Stars. So I think like she's okay being in front of a camera now.
Also, okay, just I had the Dancing with the Stars point at the end, which is fine. She and Whitney are going on Dancing with the Stars. It's in its like 34th season.
Yeah.
I have watched nary a single episode of Dancing with the Stars.
Nor have I. Yeah.
34 seasons or what? Are you serious?
I know. I don't know how it happened.
I don't know. I was like, what? Has it been on since we were 6? Like,
It
what is
happened
happening here?
while I wasn't paying attention,
Yeah,
clearly.
yes, because I don't give a shit about Dancing with the Stars. So basically, the Marciano stuff, total nothing burger. We can't talk about it.
Okay.
Demi didn't show up. We know because of her planned trip to Disneyland.
I don't believe this.
I don't believe it either.
So
It's
why
such
is she not there?
Because she doesn't want to be there. Because she doesn't want to be held accountable.
Because they kicked her out.
Because A, they kicked her out, and B, she doesn't want to be held accountable. She was fine doing the interview with just Nick, even though he had no time for her.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
But she didn't want to be in a room with all of those women coming at her.
I agree. I was dying for Nick to go head to head with Brett.
Oh, that's what I was looking
Somebody
for.
needs to bring Brett down. I'm uncomfortable with him. Did you see the latest that she put out like a TikTok or something where she said she had a crush on him when she was like 10 and he was like 24 or whatever their difference is? And people are like, girl, this is gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's quite the age spread, but
no, that's basically the age spread. She was 9 and he was like 26.
How much older is he than her?
Let's Google.
All right.
age. Am I
Let's
allowed to touch
Google.
things now?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
touch things.
Between Brett and Demi. Start typing Brett and that comes up first. Okay. 16 years.
16 years. Okay.
So yes, that tracks because she was 9 and
Okay,
he
they
was like
first met
25 when
she
they
was
met.
9 and he was 25. Ugh.
And I got to tell you, at 9 and 10, there were like 24-year or 25-year-old boys that I was like my swim coach. I was like, "Oh, he's so dreamy."
Yeah.
I wasn't going to marry them, nor was he going to marry me.
Correct.
Because that would have been
Correct.
fucking weird.
Correct. Yes.
That's
Yes.
like
Yeah.
rumor level.
It's gross. It's gross.
gross.
And to lean into that, that's not a flex.
No, this is not something to celebrate, kids. This is something we might want to keep on the down low as much as possible.
But it sounds like they have kicked her out.
Yes.
So I think that's why she has not wanted to come.
Sure,
to the
because she doesn't
studio.
want to be held accountable. She doesn't
Yeah.
want to be in front of
I
them.
hate her. She's a total villain.
She is such a troll.
Yep.
She is so evil. And I liked how they went back to season 1 and even showed her bitchiness back then.
Yes.
She's just a bitch.
Yep. She's a bitch.
But I did appreciate how Nick was like, she's like, well, I mean, what would you have done about Jesse's business? He's like, I wouldn't have said anything.
Exactly.
And she's like, really? He's like, yeah, because you don't do that to your friends.
No, and your best friend, supposedly.
Your best friend on national television calling her business garbage.
Yeah,
like,
she's
what are
gross.
you doing?
She's gross.
So I'm kind of sad she wasn't there, but I'm kind of glad we got Nick like going after her a bit.
One-on-one with her, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think she would have been that forthcoming in a large group.
Agreed.
Because I think she thought, oh, he'll be on my side.
Agreed.
And he was like, nah, you suck.
Agreed.
You suck. Okay.
Yeah. Little Miss Recap will return in a moment. For ad-free episodes, visit littlemissrecap.com/support.
So Demi and Marciano exchange texts. We have to deal with that.
Okay.
We have to hear the word come
out of Nick's mouth, who really looked like he didn't know if he should say it.
Right,
It was kind of like Higgins reading his texts in the Karen Reed trial where no, Michael Proctor, I'm sorry.
Michael Proctor being like, should I say the C word?
Should I say the C word?
Yeah,
Like
Nick you said it.
Nick kind of went through, you saw it in real time, the workings in his mind, and then he's like, come. And then Zach Spector, like, what does the clam emoji mean? Does it mean pussy? I was like, no.
First of all, I never want to hear Zach Affleck say meow again.
Thank you.
And I'm not bothered by the word pussy like you are.
The correct term is meow.
And second of all, the look on I've said before, I think Jen Affleck looks like a little teddy bear. Yes. Pregnant, she looks even more like a little teddy bear. But when he said pussy, she was like, oh! Like, it was the most scandalous thing she had ever heard in her entire life. She is so like pure and innocent over there.
She really is.
She's been married since she was 12.
That's true.
At least they don't have a huge age difference. I think he's 2 years older than she is.
That's true. Yep.
They're fine. But so we've got texts coming between them, but of course we can't really talk about them again because we have to save all the Marciano stuff for season 3.
Yeah. It's very vague, like we're going through a hard time.
Yeah,
it's been the hardest year of our lives.
Yeah. Well, this has been the hardest year of my life too, and my marriage is fine. So shut up.
Yeah.
Actually, I've had a lot of hardest years of my life. This is just on the list. But what I did find interesting was and it's a little bit later in the thing, but so when we bring Jen out, we have the recorded conversation, and hats off to Utah being a one-party consent state. Thank you for this.
I know.
Thank you for that, because
I know, but you have to explain to me, like I'm 5, what was on that recording, because I didn't really understand it.
It was hard to understand, but basically what it was Demi saying to Jen, well, when people ask you about this, what you're supposed to say is that the boundaries in my marriage with Zach are different than the boundaries in Demi and Brett's marriage, but Demi and Brett have a very open and honest and true marriage. Basically, it is you need to step up and say our marriage is great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just need you all to know that Amy is the sound crazy person over there. Just want you all to know. We're on like our 5th break here because something's making noise. Anyway. So what were we saying? So basically Jen Demi was saying to Jen, make my marriage sound better than it actually is.
Okay.
Take up for me.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I
Well,
think this
that's
was.
lame.
That's
And
real
if,
lame.
if your daddy husband over there is so good to you, you shouldn't have to have people lying about it.
I never have to say to anybody, make sure people know Todd's a good guy.
Amanda, make sure that people think Timmy and I are in love when we
Okay,
talk
I'll do
about
my
it. Okay.
best.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
the
it's
fact that you
weird.
talk about him nonstop, probably
Mhm.
no indication at all that you're not
Mhm.
obsessed with him or
Mhm.
anything. Mm-mm,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
mm-mm. The reviews we get were, you talk about Timmy too much.
I
Oh,
know.
fine,
I
it's
know.
fine. I don't care.
Whatever.
I like hearing about Timmy.
He's literally the only person I interface with aside from you.
And your children, and you don't talk
it's
about
it's
them on
gonna
air.
come up once
Yeah,
in a while.
same, whatever. Okay, now we get to let's talk about Taylor and Dakota.
Okay, we got some answers about Dakota's addiction
Yes,
that we did not
10
have.
years.
Heroin.
Heroin.
Yeah.
10 years.
That's a hard addiction to overcome.
Yes, it is, and
It can be done.
oh,
It
it
can be
absolutely can
done.
be done, and I believe he's sober. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
I don't doubt that at all, but 10 years of a heroin addiction,
Mhm.
no wonder he's a hot fucking mess.
Yeah, he is so emotionally dysregulated, and
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel I don't hate him.
I don't hate him either. I didn't
These
like him
2
at
need to get the fuck
first.
away from each other.
I'm gonna say something.
Okay.
She might be the problem in this relationship,
Oh, she's
and I
absolutely a
love
problem.
her.
She's a problem.
But I think what he did in the beginning, and he described this perfectly. It's classic addict behavior. It's
Mhm.
I'm gonna lie to please, lie to cover up, lie, you know what I mean?
He's like, "I've been lying for 10 years."
Yep, he came clean with her.
Yep.
She needs to decide whether she forgives him or not,
Right.
and she doesn't.
No, so
So
move
she
on.
needs to cut him loose and move forward.
They need to
They
co-parent this
co-parent, and that's
poorly
it.
named child,
Yep.
and
No fucking
that's it.
around. No fucking.
Stop putting your P in her V.
Mhm.
Stop.
Mhm.
Your
Mhm.
P and her V need to
Mhm.
never be near each other again.
No. Amanda, speaking of peas, did we get any erection cam this episode? I didn't see any.
I saw no erection cam, and for that I am grateful. I'm really grateful. I don't wanna see any of these people's erections. Didn't actually wanna see Ethan Plath's erection either, but we saw
Here
it.
we are.
Poor guy has a fucking priapism, and he doesn't even know it because he can't watch TV to see the commercials. I can't believe I just said Ethan Plath, poor guy. There's nothing poor
Yeah.
guy about Ethan
No,
Plath.
no,
He's
fuck
hot, he's
Ethan
garbage.
Plath. He
Yep.
he deserves to have an erection for 17 hours.
I have it be very painful. BDF Meredith, weigh in. Tell
Yeah.
us the pain he's in because we want to
Yeah.
know about it. So yeah, he, but one thing that I found interesting is that Taylor's like, I'm still finding out things that he did. Like as of a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago, I found
Yeah.
out shit that he did. So
And he even said, like, I don't know if I should be in a relationship. You shouldn't be,
you
dude.
shouldn't, honey.
No.
Actually, Dakota, what I think you should do, and I have to imagine he did go to rehab. You don't
Mhm.
break a 10-year heroin
Yeah.
addiction without a lot of time in rehab.
Mhm.
I think you need more time there, dude. I'm not saying you need to be impatient or whatever, but I think you need a lot more time to work through all of it, work through the behavior that
Mhm.
work through everything that got you into addiction,
Mhm.
and then work through all of the behaviors you learned to maintain your addiction
Yeah.
and break those.
Yeah. I agree.
Because I think it's the lying and the people pleasing that is going to get him in trouble forever.
I agree. I agree. That's a very good point.
So
Yeah.
they need to not do this.
Yeah.
From there, we moved into coffee enemas.
Didn't need that. Didn't
Nope.
care.
Didn't
Nope.
need it. Didn't
And
care.
when they were pressed on, why can you drink soda and not coffee? They both have caffeine. No one could answer.
Of course, no one could answer.
Mhm.
My last and final point of this, and we can talk about it overall. All in all, this show is a really bad showing for Mormonism.
I agree.
It really, I think, brings into sharper focus the trauma of Mormonism,
I agree.
particularly on women.
Yeah. I agree.
And let's talk about the fact there was 10 people on this stage. Like
Mhm.
3 of them have been sexually abused that we know of.
Okay. Well, I'm going to save my thoughts for when we get to it, but
Okay.
I have thoughts around
But
Connor's
think
situation.
about it. This is a small sample size and we have significant sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Because again, high
Closed
control, patriarchal
patriarchal
religion.
Yep.
There you
Yep.
go. What are you going to do? Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit. We revisit CMA Gate.
Mhm.
And basically, Taylor admits she was kind of unhinged about it.
She was. She
Because
was.
I think Taylor's MO is just kind of to be unhinged a little bit.
Well, and then she said, so she didn't like give us this insight in the season, but I felt like it rounded out her motivations a little bit more. She said she thought it was a plan
Right.
and
She
that
thought they
maybe
were
it
all
was like a
conspiring
joke.
against her
Yes.
in
And
some way,
that
shape, or
made
form.
more sense.
That did make more sense. But what the part of this conversation, the whole thing I found interesting is when Nick was like, if I did something really cool, it'd be much more important to me that my friends reached out to me privately.
And they're like, no.
And Michaela's like, no, Michaela was a little bit generation shamed Nick there. She was like, I don't think you understand social media.
Yeah.
This is like when I had that experience of graduating from college and someone said, my generation invented social media. Okay, go
Hmm.
away.
I'm looking up, was Nick Viall born in the 1900s? Yes, he
Yes. But
was.
he's like
Yes, he
40.
was. He was born in 1980, so he would be 44.
44, yeah.
Well,
And
45.
Michaela's what, 24, 25?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Nick Viall's one of us.
Nick Viall is one of us.
Wow, he's right
His
on the
wife,
cusp.
however, is like 23.
Yeah, he's right on the cusp.
Mhm.
He's technically a
An elder
exennial,
millennial.
which is what I am too.
Right.
But yeah, he was born in the 1900s.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Mhm.
we don't get it.
No, he was born during the Reagan
I can't
administration.
stop using that phrase. Now I'm going to use it going
What?
forward. That we were born in the 1900s.
1900s, yeah.
My
Okay.
kids say it on the reg to me.
Thank God our kid hasn't picked up on that one yet,
Mhm.
because I think I'll
Mhm.
have to smack him, and he's not my kid, so I can't smack him. Not that I would ever smack a kid, period. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can dunk on him though.
Well, like when I say to them, maybe you should work more than 4 hours a week.
Mm.
I got which now they're doing 30 hours a week and they're like, it's a living nightmare for them. They just don't
Oh,
even know which way is up.
our kid is
Um,
like, he's looking for a job, but he can only look for one at a time because he
mhm.
needs to find out what happens with that one before he
Mhm.
applies for another one. So
He's a completist.
he's a
Mhm.
sure, we'll go with that. That's a way better phrase than what I would use to describe the situation. But he's like, I'm like, you can't, you will finish dinner and go, I need to rest before I can clear the table.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm like, rest from what? You have been literally sitting in your room all day playing video games.
Well, I think the girls have discovered that, I'm not going to hand out the vape money anymore. So we
Right.
need to do something.
We need our own vape money.
So they're kind of working a lot, but when we were during school, when I was
Yes.
trying to get them to work more hours, they were like, "You know what, mom? You were born in the 1900s." Cuz I'm like, "Of course I have to say to them, I was working full time when I was your age."
Right.
Cuz I was at
Yes, same.
Sears.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You were born in the 1900s and making $2 an hour. So you had to work 40 hours a week." And
And shit cost, and I used to be able to get a gallon of gas for 99 cents.
but
So
for a
really it's the
minute,
same.
for a minute I was like, they might be onto something here. They make $12 an hour at their grocery store.
Wow.
That's like quadruple what I made at McDonald's, $4 an hour, 4.25.
Yeah. I mean, when I started at McDonald's, I think I made like $6 an hour.
Mhm.
I eventually got to like 10 when I was a
Well,
manager.
you were near Philly though,
Yeah.
right?
I was closer to
Yeah,
Philly. Yeah.
yeah. Mm,
And
okay.
actually, like 2/3 of the people who worked at our McDonald's lived in Philly and would take the bus
Wow,
out
wow,
because they made much more money at our McDonald's than would have made at McDonald's in the city.
wow. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
it was interesting. I Working at McDonald's actually was one of those experiences for me where I learned a lot about the vast difference of being a white kid in the suburbs versus a
Mhm.
person of color living in the
Oh,
city. And I
100%.
learned
Yep.
so much from everybody I worked with. It was actually, I think for that reason alone, it was an incredibly important experience in my
Yeah,
life
yeah.
because it got me out of my little bubble.
Yep.
Um, and then I would drive people home at like midnight, and my mom would be out of her mind. She's like,
Yeah.
"You're driving people where, at what time, in what part of the city? What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, they
Uh,
needed a ride home." She was like, "Yeah, no, we're not dropping people off in Gray's Ferry." Because
yeah,
at that point in Philly, it was a very dangerous neighborhood.
yeah.
She was like,
Mm-mm.
not doing that. Anyway, um, but yeah, I found the conversation around the CMA stuff to be interesting. But yeah, Taylor saying that she felt like it was a conspiracy against her explains why she kind of went
Explained a
off so
little bit.
quickly.
Yeah.
A little bit. I
Yeah.
think the problem is so going back to Dakota and Taylor, and this is overall with Taylor. I think Taylor has zero idea how to regulate her own emotions. So
Yeah.
everything is just her going off.
and you have 2 unregulated people in a relationship
Mhm.
together. It's a
And
disaster.
most of the drama she creates is when she goes off
Yeah. Yep.
because
Yep.
she's unregulated.
Yeah. Agreed.
I still love her,
Me too.
but she's unregulated. Now we talk about a so we get the husbands out and we talk about the impact that the show has had on them, and we talk about Jace being able to be a stay-at-home dad.
Being fired by his own family.
Right. Well, because the story we got on the show is Michaela makes enough money doing brand deals and stuff, so now I can stay
Yeah.
at home.
Yeah.
No, what actually happened is he was working for his family's restaurant and they kicked him out.
Well, it sounds like the family's restaurant was maybe going downhill and was bought
It
by somebody trying to save it.
it sounds like there was a lot of
Yeah.
shenanigans
Yeah.
going over there, but basically he got fired by his family.
You know what? I was saying to Timmy last night, it was really interesting because I'm like, I think it's so nice in this culture
Mhm.
of Mormonism and in that generation to see these husbands just embrace being at home
Mhm.
and letting their wives earn the money.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how against the grain this
How
is in
big
that
that is.
culture.
And Jace is actually sitting there going, This is such a blessing that I get to stay home and be with my kids all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It's the same thing of like, we now live in a world where most families, it's a two-person working family
Mhm.
because we can't afford for it not to be.
Mhm.
And when people can, the mother or because usually the wife that stays home, not always, but
Yeah.
usually, it's always
Yeah.
like, "This is such a blessing that I get to be home with my kids all the time." We rarely get to hear that the other way. It's nice to hear a man be like, "It is such a blessing I get to be home with my kids every day."
I remember during COVID, I think COVID is what broke me in some way because
Mm,
when I slowed down and I was actually present in my
mhm,
kids' lives because I was working from home. I had a job that I was able to work from home. Timmy
right,
still had to go to work and be out of the house
right,
because nobody gives a fuck about carpenters. They're
right, and
just on
he's
site
an
doing things.
essential worker.
Yeah. Um, I remember, like, literally crying on the phone to my boss when I had to go back
Oh,
and
wow.
being like, "Can I just be home 2 days a week?"
Right,
Because it was so and my kids were, like, 14 at this time,
right,
but it was so hard because I had to be running all over the place, getting them from school, like, leaving work
mhm.
early, going picking them up from the bus, dropping them off, going back to work, like, it was crazy, and I remember thinking, like, "We should make a way where all parents could one parent could be home in every household."
In some ways, I think being a working parent gets much more complicated when your kids are preteens and teens than when they're
100%,
little because there's like
100%.
for a kindergartner, there's after school, there's all sorts of programs to care for your children when they're
Mhm,
little.
mhm.
But it's like once they hit 12, fuck it.
Don't
Not our
get me
problem.
started on how sports is rigged in this country
Oh yeah, you have to have
because
money to be able to do sports.
you have to have a parent to pick your kid up from, like, 2:30 at the
Yep.
school, which is when they get out now,
Yep.
and drive
What?
them home, and then drive them back to the school for, like, 4 o'clock for a practice. It's like, I remember saying so many times, "How do single parents do this?
Oh yeah.
There's no way."
Oh yeah.
It's
We're lucky
anyway.
for our kid because I mean Todd is thankfully working again. But even when he working or non-working, his our kid's mom, she
You have
works
the
at such
3 people.
we have 3 people, so
Mhm,
I can tag in if needed.
mhm.
So we have 3 people. But even more than that, his mom works at a job where she can't come and go.
Yeah.
Todd and I can come and can schedule our days such that if
Mhm,
we need to pick up our kid, we block time on our calendar. It's cool.
mhm.
And that's a privilege
Yeah,
to be
that
able
a
to do that.
lot of people don't
And
have.
we also have the privilege of Todd's parents who are always like happy to come help. I
Yeah,
mean, they will
yeah.
they will move mountains to spend time with
Mhm,
this kid, and if it
mhm.
meant having to go out of their way to pick him up from play practice and
Yeah,
drive him 15 minutes home, they're thrilled to do it
yeah.
if they can.
See, I didn't have that. My mom, when
Yeah.
my girls were little, she always worked in a factory. She was a
Yeah.
supervisor, but she worked in a factory and
So
she
you
couldn't
can't come and
leave.
go.
You can't leave.
No.
No. And my gram would help no matter what, but my gram didn't drive.
Right.
So I still had to get them there.
Did
You know
she
what I mean?
never drive in her whole life?
Yeah, she drove and
Oh, okay.
then there here we go.
Oh god.
There were complications around a parking space. Her
Oh.
neighborhood she lived in a duplex, and her neighborhood started to get very crowded, and she
Mm,
couldn't find on-street parking anywhere, so she
okay.
used to have to park, like, a couple blocks down all the time, and she was just kind of getting nervous walking to her house at night and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
and her car was falling apart and she couldn't afford a new one.
So she
So
was just like, "I'm done."
she just asked me if I would take her because all she did was go to the store once a week. She had a
Mhm.
ride to work. Her
Okay.
friend Rita took her to work every day.
Got it.
But she asked me if I could just take her to the store once a week. I'm like, "Yeah, Graham, just get rid of the car." So we got rid of
Yeah.
the car. But
And
that was I mean, my kids weren't even born yet.
okay. But I mean, that saved her a ton of money. No
Yeah.
car insurance, no car
Yeah.
repair.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
becomes a lot of money.
Yeah.
Being able to have a car is actually more of a privilege than I think we realize.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
so
But
anyway.
no, my whole thing is, like, it was nice to see these young men being
Mhm.
like, "I'm totally comfortable with my wife being the breadwinner. I
Yep.
love it, and I'm gonna be a stay-home dad."
I also thought it was really impactful for Layla to be like, this mom talk in this show changed my life
Yes, because
because
I was a single mother, I
I
didn't know
was
if
a
I could
single
make
mother.
it.
Right. She was like, there were days where I wasn't sure if I could eat as well because my kids needed to eat.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
if we all can't, I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, this show and mom talk changed her life, which I was really glad she said that part too,
Me too.
because I think being a single mother in Mormonism is so rare that people don't
Agreed.
think about that.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, I like Layla. They also
I do too.
talk a lot about Layla and her body dysmorphia.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Are we we're probably not near there yet.
Eh, I'm kind of all over the map
Okay.
anyway, so let's
Okay.
just talk about it.
Yeah, she had an eating disorder or
Mhm.
she yeah, does she say what it is? I forget.
She doesn't, but
Okay.
I'm gonna go with anorexia.
But for most of her life, most
Yeah.
of her teens, like this poor girl, she broke my
Mhm.
heart.
She broke my heart too. And now it explains also why she got an entirely new body
Yeah.
via
Yeah.
plastic
But
surgery.
she seems to be in recovery, right? From
She
it.
does.
She's
She seems to be
yeah.
in recovery, but I
Yeah.
think she gets really triggered when people talk about how skinny she is.
Yes,
And she's too skinny.
it's a lifelong trigger for people who've suffered
Had
from
any sort of
eating
eating
disorders.
disorder, any sort of body
Mhm.
shaming issue,
Mhm.
whatever. You and I were
Mhm.
talking about this before we recorded about
Yeah.
the impact of bodies on medical stuff. Like, it's
Yep.
just, we do such disservice to people when we talk about bodies the way that we do. It's
Yeah.
just so fucked up. But
I
yeah,
agree.
I had a lot of empathy for Layla when she was talking about the body dysmorphia and her eating disorder stuff. But also, I'm glad that she said like this show means I can feed my kids,
Yeah, me too.
and
I
that
like
gives
her a
me.
lot. I like
I
her
do
a lot.
too. I think she's a really strong woman.
Mhm.
Apparently, she and Cameron, they didn't talk about it. She and Cameron are not together though. That's the rumor on the
Yeah,
show.
and she had an orgasm, which Zach Affleck had no clue what it was.
Mm.
He's like, What's the big O? What's the big O?" And Jen turns
It's
to him
something
and
you've never seen, Zach.
Jen turns
So
to him
that's
and
the problem.
basically is like, "It's an orgasm, not that you'd know."
Yeah, Zach.
Wow.
Ugh.
Wow.
But yeah, and she had an orgasm, self-served, which,
Yeah,
girl,
hey, there you
that's the
go.
best ones you're gonna
Yep.
have, honestly,
Yep. Go to it.
because you can control it all yourself.
Just flick
l-
on the jinx and go to town. Kidding,
You've
kidding,
said some
kidding.
fucked up shit.
I'm kidding.
I know you are, but you've said some fucked up shit, and that got real weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. So let's trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger
Mm,
warning, guys.
mhm.
We're gonna talk about childhood sexual trauma and abuse.
Okay.
We have Connor, and we talk about Connor's porn addiction, which was the only thing we heard about on the show. He found himself on Tinder and he had a porn addiction, which is why he and Whitney hightailed to Hawaii for a while. Which, can Todd get a porn addiction and we can hightail it to Hawaii for a little while?
Are we talking Covenant Eyes here? Is
Yeah,
that at play?
I don't know. It wouldn't
Okay.
shock me if we weren't in a Covenant Eyes situation.
Okay. Alright.
But what Connor does, and he wrote this all down so he could read it, so he
It was
incredibly powerful.
yes.
But he talks about the fact that as a child he was raped, and
Yes, and he says raped.
raped,
Mhm.
which I'm glad he
I
said
am
those
too. I
words.
am too.
And I actually think it's incredibly powerful when men talk about
I do
their own
too.
sexual abuse, because
Yep.
we, for so long, only thought it happened to little girls.
I agree.
And it happens to boys, and it happens to boys, and it is perpetrated by both men and women. Like,
Yes.
I think we need to stop genderizing all this. It happens to everybody,
I agree.
no matter what. Not, it doesn't happen to everybody. It can happen to anybody, is really what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say. And it was incredibly brave. He reads exactly what happened to him. He talks about why he started seeking out attention from others because he wanted confirmation that he was okay. And
Mhm.
it it was incredibly powerful.
Little Miss Recap will return in a moment. For ad-free episodes, visit littlemissrecap.com/support. I want to have kind of a difficult conversation here.
Sure, we can have any kind of conversation.
I don't know how I felt, but it brought something up in me that was it in the church that this happened?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
But it kind of felt like maybe that's what we weren't saying.
Maybe.
And I could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong. But also, one of the things that I was wondering is I don't know much about porn addiction.
No, I don't either.
Is sexual assault sometimes a predeterminator for that?
I think so. I think because you become sexualized at a much earlier age
Okay.
than you should be.
Because he was saying like the porn addiction gave him validation.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
I,
he's
I
doing
was
some
trying to,
OnlyFans
yeah,
stuff.
I was trying to connect the two, and
Or
I admittedly don't know a lot about. That's why I'm like, this might be a weird conversation to have, but I
and
don't
who
know a
knows
lot.
what type of porn. I mean, I know that it is not uncommon for, people who have been raped to have fantasies of consensual non-consent
Yeah,
type like
yeah.
things
And
to
sometimes
relive
if
it and
somebody sexually
process it.
assaults children, it's because they've been sexually
Sexually
assaulted.
assaulted. There's so much that goes into it. I find the conversation around porn addiction to be very interesting because,
Yeah.
again, I'm on all these Are We Date the Same Guy Facebook groups, and people will talk about my boyfriend watches porn and he's an addict. And I feel like for some people, the moment somebody watches porn, they're addicted to porn. And I
Right. I
don't
don't
think that's true
yeah.
at all.
Well, so let me walk you through a scenario
Okay.
of how it could look like porn addiction if you're
Sure.
Whitney. Okay?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You're Whitney, you catch your husband watching porn.
Yeah.
It's a problem. You don't like it, whatever.
Hmm.
I personally do not agree with that, but whatever. Whitney
Todd could
doesn't like it. It's frowned upon in their religion, whatever.
Todd could watch porn all day. I don't
Yeah.
actually. If there's porn beat watching in this house, it's more me than him.
So they have
I
a
don't care.
fight. He agrees to stop watching it, whatever. She
Right.
finds it again.
Yeah.
This is how it presents to
Hmm.
someone as an addiction where it's really not.
No.
It could just be he's, I don't want to say normal, but he's an average person
Hmm.
who wants to look at porn and wants to do it regardless if his wife's okay with it or not,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so that's where I wonder, like,
Was he
is it
watching it 20 times
truly
a
an
day, or
addiction?
did she
Yeah.
catch him 4 times and now she's telling him he's a porn addict?
Like, I think it
I don't know.
becomes an addiction where it becomes a problem where you get into an area where you can't perform with your partner. You can't, like, when it starts to bleed into your everyday regular life.
Right, exactly. It becomes I think porn becomes a problem when people are consistently choosing self-pleasure and pornography over being intimate with their partner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That
think
that's a fair bar, I think.
I think for some people though, like I've read a lot of women say things like, "I was right there. Why did he go masturbate?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
"'Cause sometimes you just want to check the box and go
Mhm.
about your day." It's
Right.
not about
Right.
wanting to connect with your partner. It's just like I just want to get this done and go about my day.
Mhm.
And I think women conflate the two of being like he's not attracted to me because he masturbates. It's like no, one can have absolutely nothing to do with the other.
Correct.
Sometimes it does, but for the most part I think it has nothing to do with the other. But
I don't know if I've regularly heard it tied into sexual assault. That's why I was wondering, like, is there an actual
yeah,
correlation there
I don't know.
or causation or whatever?
I
Like,
don't know.
are they related? I've
Yeah,
never really heard them be related, but I don't know much about it.
right. So I don't feel like
So,
we can speak
mental
well
health
to
experts, please come at us.
yeah,
Tell
let us know.
us. Yeah, let us know.
But I found this to be very powerful, and then it talks about Michaela talking about her experience.
Mhm.
I thought it was very sweet after it was done. I'm glad they took a break. Taylor came up and gave him a really big hug and told him how brave he
He
was.
said nice things to Taylor.
He did too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, "Taylor, you being so honest about everything you're
Help me be more
feeling."
honest.
Yeah, and I was really glad. Who was sitting to his left? Was it Jordan who was like kinda
Yes.
comforting him while this was
Yes.
going
Yeah,
on.
Jordan was these guys support each other.
These guys were great.
Yeah.
They were hugging him, they were like, "Thanks for bringing,"
Yeah, Jace
they
gave
were
him a hug
crying, some of them
afterwards.
were crying.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
It
was
it was pow
interesting.
it was interesting and it was powerful, and I'm very impressed with him that he was willing to share that,
Yeah,
and
me too.
I think it will help people. I do. I
That
think the more
that's
we
the thing,
talk about
like,
it, the more it can help people.
remember what my mom says, guys, "If people are strong enough to tell their stories, we owe it to them to
To
listen."
listen.
Yeah,
It's
and
one of the wisest things I think your mother has ever said.
yes, yes, aside from Amy's my favorite child,
Well, yeah, of
and
course.
who's Jenny? Yeah.
And never heard of her, never met her.
Um So yeah, I thought it was beautiful. I feel like Nick really gave him a safe place to
Mhm.
say it. And kudos to those crazy Mormon wives who are changing hearts and minds here
Yeah.
about things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's great. Okay. Let's move on to a different topic, which is Jen and Zach. Okay.
Mm.
Here was my one problem with Nick. I
Okay.
think he might have watched an entirely different show because he went on to say how impressed he was with Zach in season 2.
Okay, I'm not surprised, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
And this is similar to what I was saying yesterday about sometimes a very small percent of gay men think that they understand the female experience.
Okay.
When you move through the world as a woman,
Mhm.
you pick up things that
That's
straight
true.
cis men are not going to tune into. And Zach put on enough of a show to fool people who aren't looking close enough.
Okay.
Like, I think if you had a woman host up there, she would have a totally different read on this.
I hope so.
Yeah,
And again, I do wanna do a hashtag not all men because Todd
of
watched this with
course.
me and was like,
Yes.
"This guy's a fucking monster."
Right. But I think Nick he's not in tune enough
Okay,
to
that's
have picked up the subtleties that
that's
we all
distinctly
saw.
possible. That is
Yeah.
absolutely possible.
Like, I guarantee you, I think Timmy would have been like, "Okay." You know
Oh,
what I mean? Like, if it's
yeah.
very surface presenting,
Yeah.
it's gonna pass the muster
The sniff
test or
test for
whatever.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as a woman, he is
He makes me
and I
so
don't know,
uncomfortable to even look at.
I know I'm genderizing this, but I just am because
Yeah.
I moved through the world as a woman, so that's my only experience.
Right.
I'm sure there are plenty of men who pick up on this,
Yeah.
but I don't think your average man is going to.
Yeah,
I
I
think
guess
it
not.
it takes something a different lived experience to
Mm,
kind of pick up on the subtle microaggressions that Zach
right.
was putting out there and
Yeah.
the controlled behavior and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, because I was like, "Wait, Nick, did we watch the
Yeah,
same show?"
yeah, I was not surprised by that at
Okay.
all,
Okay.
at all.
And that makes okay. I see what you're saying.
Mhm.
And because prior to this conversation, I had a sample size of one man who watched this with me going,
Yeah,
"This guy's a fucking monster."
yeah. I think if Timmy had watched season 1, he would have been like, "This guy's a monster." If
Mm,
he had watched season 2 in isolation, he was probably like, I don't see anything wrong with that guy.
right. He's
What's wrong
trying to
with
get
him?
back
He's
with his
supporting
wife.
his wife."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yep.
okay. But we did talk about Jen's prenatal depression, and I think that's a really important conversation
Yes.
to have.
Again, this is what I'm talking about. This show is so good in this way,
Yeah,
like, putting it all out there.
because I loved when we had BDF Ashley on to
Yes.
talk about the impact because we talk a lot about postpartum depression, but we don't
Mhm.
talk about prenatal depression too often.
No.
I have to tell you, it's not something that really crossed my radar.
Yeah.
It's like a thing
Yeah.
that's a thing. I mean, it makes sense,
Mhm.
but to talk to her about how what a dark space she was in
Mhm.
and um how self-harm was a big part of that for her
Yep. Yep.
and you could sort of see the other women finally soften to her a bit more.
Yeah. There was did Layla talk about
Layla also talked about how she had
suicidal
done a lot of
ideation?
self-harm
Yeah.
and she had
That
scars.
yeah, that
And it was
is
when her kid noticed the scars that she was like, fuck, I gotta fix this.
yeah, it's
It's amazing to me, and you can speak more to this than I can because you've raised children from the start.
Mhm.
But it's always amazing to me of how the impact that children seeing your problems can have on you to make you
Mhm.
go, it's this mirror like no other mirror on the planet.
I agree. I
To have
agree.
your children look at you and go, is there something wrong? And you go, oh my God.
I told you having kids completely changed the relationship I have with my weight and my body
Yes, I know.
because I knew they were watching how I
Mm-hmm.
treated my body and myself.
And how you talked about your body.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to fake it. Anyone who was around me thought I was super confident all the
Right.
time
Yep.
because I just had to fake it because I knew they were watching. And by faking it, eventually I adapted that
Yeah.
and I became
You've
at
got to fake it till
peace.
you make it.
I became at peace with it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Oh,
crazy.
the part of the reason I have so much trouble with my own body is because for most of my childhood, all I heard from my mother was how much she hated her own body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's no dunk on her. It was the 70s and the 80s.
It was
All
the
women talked
1900s.
It was the 1900s. All women talked about was how much they hated their bodies.
Yeah. Well, remember that scene in Your Fat Friend
Mhm.
where Aubrey's talking to her mother and she's
Mhm.
like, "You're the one who shared that study with me that most women coalesce around
Mhm.
hating their bodies. Like
Yeah.
that's where they bond."
Yeah.
And
When I stopped
I was in a toxic relationship like this, I told you,
Yeah.
where this person all we did was talk about how fat we were and how much we hated our bodies.
Mhm.
And one day I was like,
I'm
"I
done.
can't do this anymore."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I when I started to move away from diet culture and I stopped
Mhm.
talking about weight and weight loss and I stopped talking about exercise as reward for, as a way to counteract what I ate or anything
Mhm.
other than just
Mhm.
something to make my body feel good. I lost relationships because there was nothing to talk about anymore
Yeah.
because that's all we ever
Yeah.
talked about.
Yeah. It's
It's weird.
crazy.
It
But
is
having
really
kids
strange.
will yes, you're right. There is a mirror. That is a
Mhm.
mirror unlike any other. You're
Mhm.
correct. Yeah.
Mhm. Um okay, we did the Vanderpump Villa stuff, all the things and just Demi just wants us to know her marriage with Brett is amazing. Okay.
Fuck off.
Michaela talks about her abuse and her illness and how she really feels like the two things were very tightly related.
Mhm.
Um
When we see the flashback
oh my
of
god.
Michaela, she looks like a different person.
She looks like a different human. She looks
Mhm.
so sick.
Yes. Yes.
She's gray.
Yes. She has real bad bags under her eyes. Like
Her hair
that
looked
poor
like
girl.
really
Yeah.
she looked very
She
ill.
looked like me when I wake up. Like just,
No.
not fit for prime time.
I've seen you when you wake up. You didn't look
Mm.
1/100th as bad as Michaela looks when she wakes up.
That poor girl,
That poor girl
whatever.
was so sick.
I'm so glad that whatever was wrong,
She's gotten some control
she's
over
gotten some control over it.
because
Yeah.
she looks very healthy now.
Yeah. She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's beautiful. It just broke my heart to see her. We make Whitney and Michaela hug.
Yeah, didn't need that.
Didn't need that because
Mm-mm.
they didn't want to.
No.
Don't make people hug each other who don't want to hug each other.
No.
Full
I
stop.
appreciated, and this might be one of your points, but I appreciated how Nick went at Whitney.
I did too.
He really did. He was like, "You're not taking accountability for things.
Right. She's
Taylor
like, I
takes
take accountability for
accountability."
everything. And they're like, what have you taken accountability for? She's like, my behavior. Okay,
No.
get specific.
Mhm.
She can't.
Nope.
She can't. Whitney is fascinating to me. I don't hate her,
Mhm.
but she's fascinating to me because she puts on this air of this perfect Mormon girl
Yeah.
living her perfect Mormon life. Obviously, there's a lot going on in her home.
Mhm.
Kudos to her for being as supportive as she is of Connor. It seems like they're very much a team and helping
Yeah.
him heal.
I take back what I said about him. I thought he was a douchey bro when I first met
Yeah,
him.
no, I don't think he's a douchey
I
bro. I
really
think he was
like him.
hiding.
Yeah, I really like him.
I really like him too. And I really
Mhm.
liked him in season 2. And now a lot of his season 1 behavior makes a lot more sense because
Agreed.
he was trying to hide everything that was truly going on with him
Agreed.
and their marriage and all of this.
Yeah.
He was trying to hand wave it as like, oh, I got caught on Tinder.
Mhm.
And you did, but that's the symptom.
Not the
That's not
issue.
the problem.
Mhm. What did you think of Whitney constantly defending Demi?
Wha Whitney's really good at picking the wrong side.
Yes, she is, right?
She's really good at picking the wrong
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
I don't know why she is so tied to Demi.
Who
But
would
then again,
Whitney
Jesse, for a long
side
time,
with in
was
the
so tied to
Elon
Demi.
Musk versus Trump?
Who do I side with? Elon Musk?
Who would Whitney side with?
Oh, God. I mean, either one's bad. I think she'd side with Elon.
Really? Okay.
I do. I
Okay.
do. Um, I don't know why. And anything I would say now would get incredibly political, and we don't want to do that. But I think she would side with Elon, and I don't know
Okay.
why, but I just feel like that's That would be
Okay.
the answer.
Just curious,
Yeah.
whose side she's
Neither
rocking.
side's great. So,
Mhm. All
whatever.
had options.
Yeah, all the
Mhm.
yeah, she really is, like, so tied to Demi, and I don't know why.
I don't know. Do you think it's because she was on the outs for so long and
Could be.
Demi, like, you know, sucked up to her basically because everyone else hated Demi,
Right,
and
and Whitney
then
just wants someone to like her
right, and she's like, "I gotta hang on to this."
because no one else in this group likes me, and I do think Whitney will hang her hat on anybody who gives her positive attention.
Yeah,
Um, I I don't know, I find Whitney just fascinating
me too.
because she thinks she's the queen of the ball, and
Yeah,
she's not. I mean,
no.
"Hi, we're wearing a literal crown. What are we doing?" With our flat hair that we put up in rollers,
Yeah, it's weird.
says girl with flat hair.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, she's just interesting to me. I saw
Agreed.
I think I was looking at Reddit. Yeah, I was looking at Reddit trying to just get some more, see if I can get any good goss. There
Mhm.
really wasn't much as of when I
Mm-mm.
was doing my notes yesterday because it was just people were just watching it. But someone was like, I Whitney looked beautiful. And she did.
She
They're
did.
like, I love her style. She just
No,
dresses so beautifully. I'm
no,
like,
she
she
dresses like
dresses like an
Heidi.
Oompa Loompa toddler
Mhm, mhm.
all the time.
Like Veruca Salt, yeah.
Yes.
Yep,
She dresses
yep,
like
or Violet
Veruca Salt.
Beauregard, yeah.
Yeah, she really looks like she could come straight out of the good version of Charlie and the Chocolate
The
Factory.
only version
The only
of
version.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory,
Mhm.
yes.
And for
With
those
Gene Wilder,
exact
yes.
I almost said with Gene Hackman. No,
No, no,
no,
that'd be different.
that'd be
That
a
would have a
very
different feel.
oh oh my god, let's imagine all of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and instead of Gene Wilder, we have Gene
Mhm.
Hackman. He's just gonna shoot these children.
He's not gonna do the
No!
funny role in the beginning, the
No.
somersault, which was ad-libbed, by the way,
Oh,
by
was
Gene
it?
Wilder.
That doesn't
He's
shock me at
not
all.
gonna do that.
No.
No.
He's gonna straight up shoot these children for being assholes.
And when he whips around and berates Charlie for taking the everlasting gobstopper, or no, drinking the fuzzy lifting liquid or
Yes,
whatever,
yeah, because then they were all
he it's gonna get scary, and he's probably gonna pull out a gun and hold it on Charlie's head.
right, because Gene Hackman always plays scary people. Gene Wilder plays funny, cute people.
Right, right.
Did you see that Mel Brooks is making a young Frankenstein?
No,
Well, there's
that's
also doing
interesting.
another thing of Spaceballs.
Ugh,
Also,
okay.
can we talk about the fact that he's still alive?
Can we talk about the fact that nothing is new anymore?
Nothing is new. I know we've run out of ideas and we're just rehabbing old ideas.
There's a
But
lot of
Mel
ideas
Brooks
still
is
out there.
still alive.
I know, that's puzzling.
Jake and Matt had best never say his name
No, we
because
don't kill people over
we
here.
don't kill people. It's just them
Mm,
who do that.
yeah.
So now we're getting to the end. We find out Dancing with the Stars, and it was like fucking Oscar night. They're all
It
like,
was stupid.
"Who's it going to be?" Jen Affleck. She's like, "Yay!" And you could see Whitney like, "Aww."
See, I felt
And
the
Whitney.
opposite. I felt the opposite. I felt like they knew,
I felt like they
and
knew.
Whitney was trying to act like she didn't know.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
weird.
it's
Whatever.
dumb.
But all in all, I think this was a really interesting show on Mormonism, and it doesn't put Mormonism in a particularly good light.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
There's so much abuse. There's so much emotional immaturity
Mhm.
among these people
Mhm.
because they don't really have to take accountability for anything
No.
because
Nope.
it's all about whatever the church is telling them to do.
Yeah.
Go back to why can you not drink coffee, but you can, drink your weight in soda
Because
daily?
reasons.
Because
Because
reasons.
reasons.
Because reasons. And they have none.
It's like the whole Catholic Church, like
Yeah.
why you can only eat fish on Fridays during
Right.
Lent
Because
because
reasons.
some pope somewhere owned a fishery
Right.
and they needed people to do that.
Yeah.
It's like it all comes down
Why
to the
can't certain
almighty
religions
dollar.
eat pork? It's because back in the day we had no refrigeration and people realized, oh, every time we eat pork, we get sick, so we don't
Yeah.
eat pork.
Yeah.
And now we can eat pork. It's fine. It's not going to get you sick.
Mhm. That's been Amye and Amanda's religion corner.
Scary. Well, I do have a
Yeah.
minor in religious studies. Thank you very much.
Okay, there you go.
I'm very smart.
All right. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
But
think
I
it's all of our
overall I
things.
thought Nick did a decent job.
Oh, I thought Nick did a much better
Mhm.
job than I was anticipating. Though I have to say, I've listened to most of his interviews with
Mhm.
folks, with all
Mhm.
the folks from Mormon Wives. I don't hate his podcast.
Is he a problem? Can we
I
look
think
him
he's
up?
supposed to be a problem. Well, I
'Cause
think part of the problem is that he's married to like a 12-year-old.
Whoa.
She's not really 12.
Let me see. Okay. I want to see, like, what is he famous for? His
He
appearance
was on The
on The
Bachelor.
Bachelor and The Bachelorette. Oh, he's been on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, good for him.
Okay, his fiance is 25. He's 44. There's 18 years between them.
Okay. And they have a child together already. Not that I care about.
Yes.
Amy, they have a child out of
Oh,
wedlock.
God.
Ah! I don't give a shit.
Yeah. So, like, we need a website
That tells us somewhat a problem or not. We need like the IMDb of everybody in Hollywood and all of their criming.
Yeah,
or all
like
of their probleming.
There's a podcast I highly recommend with what's her name? Sonia and Margot, I think. Margot Donahue, called What a Creep. Really good, because they
okay.
tell you who's a creep and who's not. So maybe I'll ask in that Facebook group, have we
Why
covered
is Nick
this?
Viall a creep?
Yeah, and
Or is he a creep?
they'll have the answers.
Okay. Yeah.
So
That would be
I'll report back.
Amy, maybe that's how we make our millions. We start an IMDb like site and just get everybody.
It's an app, Amanda. It's an app.
It's an app. Yes, we do it as an app.
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry, we were born in the 1900s. We go straight to website. It's an app.
It's an app.
And I used to work. I know about getting mobile apps onto the App Store.
So there you go. So you just type somebody's name into the app.
Right. And it tells you, are they a creep or not?
Yes.
And then it tells you what their issues are.
Yes.
Because you can't just say creep or no creep. I need to know why.
Right. Because
I need to know the level of creep.
It could be open for interpretation. Exactly.
Right. There's a big difference between, say, Johnny Depp and somebody else.
Al Franken.
Yes. Johnny Depp versus Al Franken. I'm going to go Johnny Depp, huge creep. I'm going to go, some people might say Al Franken's a creep. I don't really think he was.
Correct. There you go. So there's nuance around Al Franken.
And
there's really none around Johnny Depp.
No. P. Diddy, Al Franken. I feel like it's very clear who's the problem. Did we get the verdicts? I know that they came back with them. Do we know it?
They had a partial verdict. So the judge ordered them to go back and redeliberate.
So go more. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
All right, guys. That has been Slow-Mo.
Yeah.
The reunion.
Slow-Mo. Until it comes back in the fall.
Oh, and we will be there. Covering it hour to hour.
Yeah. Wall-to-wall coverage of Slow-Mo.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Again, do not forget to participate in the poll.
Yes.
It is on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/LittleMissRecap. You should see an open public post there. Yeah. It's only open till Friday, so get there and do it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Amanda. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Little Miss Recap. If you'd like to support the show, the best way you can do that is to join our Twin Flame universe, which is our Patreon, Supercast, and Apple subscription feeds. The links for those are in the show notes. You get ad-free episodes and a ton of bonus content. You can also subscribe to the feed so you don't miss an episode, share the show with a friend, and leave a 5-star review. To contact the show, please email me directly at amy@littlemissrecap.com or join our Facebook group Backdoor Friends. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.